market are nervous and people are asking, is it still the right place to build?
When I realized that money is only energy, the energy that you give out is the energy you get back.
You built a successful company in the UK, multi-million dollars. You came to Dubai in September 2009 with $750. The financial crisis had just hit, 2008.
I came here with zero qualifications, just experience and a little bit of self-worth. I knew my experience meant something, although I didn't have cash, but my lessons meant something. I valued it.
You say that being rich is a system.
I always say to my students, to my pupils, to my followers, take charge of your life. You want to know how much you are worth? Look at your bank statement. I see opportunity everywhere, but poor people actually see poverty everywhere.
We are filming this at a moment nobody in the region predicted. There is conflict in our doorstep. Markets are nervous and people are asking, is it still the right place to build? My answer to that question is this conversation. He is the founder and CEO of Arena Capital, creator of the Gladiator Summit, Golf News Entrepreneur of the Year. 3 million follow his work worldwide. Behind all that is a story about what it actually costs to build something real. Dariush, Soudi, welcome to the DealMaker Show.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
So this city, Dubai, for the new subscriber, is being watched by the entire world. There is a conflict in the region, economic uncertainty globally, entrepreneurs asking whether they made the right decision to stay here. You have been in this city for over 15 years. You have seen booms, you have seen crashes. What do you say to the entrepreneur watching this right now, wondering if they should keep going?
Great question. Everything in life passes. So if you're having a good run, it passes. If you're having a bad run, it passes. So I always say this soon shall pass. Whatever it is, it will pass. At the same time, I do believe there's lots of jealousy towards what Dubai has achieved worldwide, because sometimes I wake up in the morning, I live in Dubai, I switch the television on and I'm hearing the news of this and that, and I open the window expecting to see fireworks and smoke and sun shining, everybody's enjoying themselves. Then I think actually there's lots of drama involved with the news. Things are not as bad as what they make us believe, because the press control the narrative.
Exactly.
So I really, if I was a betting man, my money is on Dubai, because the resilience, it's a youthful country. Whilst other leaders are running away, our leaders are here in shopping malls. They are spending more and more money on defense deals to make sure that we are protected and safe. So there's opportunities that we can discuss. At the same time, yes, of course, there's a wave of headache and challenges, but it soon shall pass.
Thank you for this positive message. So what does resilience actually look like in business, like practically, when the market kind of turns against you? To all the entrepreneurs that are struggling in terms of how do they transform this uncertainty into opportunity?
Thank you. All my career, I've been telling people to save money. And it's really important. During downtimes, cash is king. Now, if you work for instance, I don't know, a gym, and suddenly the membership goes down because half the people are flaky and they run away from UAE, there's nothing you can do. Your job's in danger. If you're in hospitality and there are less and less tourists coming to your hotel, you're going to struggle. But as an entrepreneur who's been wise and saved, has a little bit of savings, you can actually pick things up at great deals and opportunities, because this wave will come and it'll go. And you need to ride this wave right now. Whether it's property, whether it's in businesses, whether it's trading, there's amazing opportunities happening right now. I remember 30 years ago in England, there was a fuel strike. And within a week, people couldn't get any more fuel for the vehicles. and there was queues everywhere. One petrol station charged quadruple the normal price. This person took advantage of the public. But then when this passed, everybody boycotted his petrol station. So what I say is, take advantage of the opportunity, but don't take advantage of the people.
Agree.
Because it will come back and bite you.
Thank you so much. For people that don't know you, so you built a successful company in the UK, multi-million dollars. Then you had a knife to your chest inside of your own home, a heart attack. You basically lost everything. You came to Dubai in September 2009 with $750. The financial crisis had just hit, 2008. Everyone was leaving. You were arriving. What was the business thinking behind that decision? And what did you see that nobody else was seeing?
Once is that, thank you for reminding me of all the pain of my life.
No, I mean, it's important that people understand.
Yeah, I wasn't born with a silver spoon.
Exactly.
I wasn't lucky. Yeah, so it was interesting. People said I was crazy to come here because the banking industry had taken a turn. There was no money going around. But I came here with zero qualifications, just experience and a little bit of self-worth. I knew my experience meant something, although I didn't have cash. But my lessons meant something. I valued it. So I thought, hang on a second. People are not looking for experts to give them solutions if they have no headache. So it was a perfect time for me to give people solutions when they had headaches. So whilst everybody was saying it's bad news, everybody's struggling, I was like, no, actually, they're looking for answers. So I came with the solutions. So when I was meeting people and I had to get them excited about who I was, they said, what do you do, Dariush? I was just new to Dubai. I say, well, I sell aspirin. And they go, well, what do you mean? I said, I guess you're wondering what that means. I said, yes. I said, well, I'll find your business headache and I'll fix it.
Amazing. So, I love this tagline.
So when can we meet so I can find out what your headache is? And it worked well, and we did quite well.
So the first business, what was like the first business move that you made?
First business move, I was a consultant, sales and marketing consultant, and I didn't have a track record. So I'd say to people, if I can turn your business around, give me 30% of the profits that I bring in. And not one single time I got fired. And some of those businesses, 15, 16 years later, are still my friends.
Wow, that's amazing.
But then I realized that I was having 14 clients a week, and I was working my backside off, and my earnings were limited. And you never get rich selling your time. So it's a long story, but if you're interested, I'll tell you later. But I kept asking the same question. And I think when it comes to resilience or answers, you've got to keep asking. Too many people ask different questions. My question was, how can I build a business when I'm not selling my time? Because what you earn is limited to amount of time. If you're selling your time, your earnings are limited.
Yeah.
So I opened up a social media company through lots of miracles and coincidences. And within 1 year, I had 300 clients. Wow. And then after that, I opened up a website company. I opened up a SEO company, Google Premier Partners, hospitality business, training, recruitment.
So I totally agree on something that is very important for resilience and for entrepreneurs, is that diversification of your business is key, because what you're saying is like you arrive with $750, you had the mindset, the right mindset, and the self-worth, because if you don't trust on yourself, no one's going to trust you. You have to be your first client. I always say, like, you have to be your first client. So diversification it's a key, and especially when there is a crisis, like if you are a restaurant, you can turn it out, I don't know, in renting a podcast studio or whatever, because you are paying the rent for this space, so you can find another way to basically generate business from it. So my following question to that would be, you have hired people and trusted people, invested in people. How do you build a team that you can trust? Because I believe that when you're an entrepreneur, this is one of the biggest concern that can make you success or who can make you fail. And I think you have a very strong story about this specific aspect of the business.
People is what makes your business work or not. And now we're talking about AI, it could be different, but still, we still need that human touch.
Yeah, agree.
When I had my heart attack, I kind of reflected. It's a good time to reflect on life. And I realized that I was not living to my values. And my values was honesty, respect, punctuality, loyalty, speed. These were my values, and I was doing business with people who didn't share the same values as me, but I was doing it because I was chasing the money. So before I hired anyone, I made sure they were very clear with my values and my boundaries. A lot of people don't know their boundaries, so employees can step all over them and they negotiate.
Yeah.
And the employee doesn't know how much advantage they can take, the employer's unhappy. And then I created a 7-step recruitment process where from hello to offering somebody a job, through 7 steps, I found out if they were motivated individuals or not. Because if you can hire somebody off a CV, and we all know 99.999% of CVs are lies.
Yeah, especially nowadays.
I've never ever seen a CV where it says, I actually got fired for stealing. Never. Or I got fired for lying or whatever. So everybody's left by choice. But I created a 7-step recruitment process, which I charged $2,000 an hour teaching my clients how to do. So that was one of my really great profit centers when I was a consultant, how to recruit motivated people. Because somebody's motivated, single moms are motivated because they have somebody else to feed, not just themselves. A lot of people you hire, all they care about is earning for the weekend, right? But if they have a child to feed or some responsibility, they turn to work harder. They turn to learn, they want to learn. They don't clock watch. So recruiting motivated people is key with the right values that resonate with yours.
Thank you so much. And I believe that when you came in 2009 in Dubai, that was like a very tricky business environment because you had people that just left, like flew away, and then you had new people coming. So I believe all the company they understand that the value are first before just people that are here to take the money. Also,
recruiting people is not cheap here.
Yeah.
Because you have to get their visas and so forth, and terminating them is not so easy. So it's really critical that you hire the right people, individuals in your company.
Very, very important. So reflecting on your, let's say, resilience, what is the mindset that you are taking this, new geopolitical situation? You are in Dubai, and everyone is more concerned about, like, is Dubai finished? Or what are, in terms of opportunity, we already discussed that. But how do you put in your business this mindset?
Yeah. It's strange because the last time we had a big hiccup was through COVID.
Yeah.
But COVID came slowly, and you could see it coming. Although it lasted a long time, you could see it coming. And I think businesses did struggle, but for the last 4 years, they've really done well. With this situation, the UAE had no role to play in it. We were just going happy along, bum, 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 and then somebody starts conflict, and we are part of this. So it's caught a lot of people by surprise, including me. I was in the process of selling a business for multi-million dollars, and the buyers pulled out because there's too much uncertainty. We're still talking to them, and they said when the uncertainty finishes, they're going to come and buy our businesses.
Yeah. It's like on hold,
on hold.
A lot of business.
Flow of money has slowed. So I wasn't prepared for that, but I always say save money. So you always have that threshold of survival until the turmoil stops. You can either take advantage or pay your bills because your energy changes if you're desperate.
Yeah.
So always make sure that you're never going to be desperate. You're going to be okay for 6 months minimum. So I think resilience is part of life. Life's full of seasons. The summer, spring, autumn, winter. And you just hope that your springs last longer than your winters.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm in the crypto atmosphere, they always talk about the dry season. So yeah, definitely it's something very important.
By the way, I've lost like 50% of my value of my crypto funds. Is it a good time to invest now? What's your opinion? Because it just went up by like 1% yesterday and 2% down today. I have Ethereum and XRP. I don't know if you know them. I'm sure.
Yeah, but based on like all my experience and the people that are expert on it, they always say everything is based on the value of the market. So if you don't need to sell, do not sell.
Hold.
It's just like holding. Obviously, like you mentioned, it depends, like, do you have the cash to hold it and to forget about it? So it's just like you invest and you forget about it. Like when you have you invest in the SP 500, you just like this money is like, forget about it. Okay. So this is how I believe everyone should act.
When is a good time to sell? Doubles what I put in? I really don't know. I don't know when is a good time to sell. Because I was 45% up and I kept, and it tanked. And also one thing I don't understand, now I'm asking the questions, it's like you interview lots of people who become very successful buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If they bought Bitcoin at $1, now it's $100,000. Do they sell their Bitcoin to have this lifestyle? So how are they borrowing against their?
So obviously, when people have bought Bitcoin early on, they bought a bunch of it because it was very cheap.
Yes.
And you have a lot of people who then started mining Bitcoin. So they have the Bitcoin and then they mine Bitcoin and then they sell those Bitcoin. So obviously you have a bunch of them who has Bitcoin and then they invest in gold, commodity, and real estate. So they don't go
But they invested by selling their Bitcoin, some of it.
Yeah, some of it, obviously, but you also have a lot of people who do the mining that generate money.
Yes.
And then they don't like hold cash or stuff. And most of them, obviously, they generate money either with advising, people having their YouTube channel.
Yes.
Because trading advice is also generating a lot of money.
Of course.
This was my first question, was like, Bitcoin is so expensive. How, like, on your lifestyle every day, you're not going to pay with Bitcoin.
Exactly.
So you're going to have to transfer it. So they also have all those things where they generate money also on the like cash or Ethereum or normal like crypto, not Bitcoin, where they generate the money through the YouTube, through advising, the trading, or you even have some that create some digital money.
So they brought their own currency.
So
because
you have
a huge amount of followers.
Yeah. So they don't at any point they are telling me that they like have money on the bank. Like the people that I interviewed told me that. Then obviously you have maybe like, for instance, for you have Bitcoin or no, but you also have like your normal cash. But people who usually invest a lot in the Bitcoin at the beginning, they are like really against the financial system. They believe that is a scam, so they don't have like
cash.
And I, like
it's all digital.
A bank account. Everything is like digital.
Wow.
Or like last time I was speaking to one of my friends and he told me he just sold his car because it was like a Lamborghini and it was $500,000 dirham. Because I was like, of course, better to sell your car than the Bitcoin, because now it's down.
Sure, absolutely.
So they also live under this uncertainty because, like you mentioned, everything is going down. Even like the gold is going down, which I believe it's an opportunity. And the commodity business, obviously, it's becoming an opportunity because you will buy the gold cheaper, but then you keep it. Like for me, like buying gold is not because you want to make money from gold, it's because you want to hold it as
and it's certainty,
currency,
it's an asset,
as an asset, like they do before. We are back to before,
Yes.
like
before 1970s.
Yeah,
before they detached the dollar against the gold.
Yes.
They went for dollar against oil trading, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's even like in the, like for instance, in Africa, in India, they believe in gold more than money.
Yes.
Because they never had a stable financial system.
Yes.
So
I think in the history of Earth, there's never been one stable currency. Every currency's gone bust.
Yeah, like we had the big inflation, like in France when they moved from franc to euro.
Euros, yes.
It was like a 6% inflation.
Yes, yes.
So 1 franc was like 1 euro was equal, I remember, to 6 francs, which was a lot. But because they changed the currency, we didn't realize.
Yes.
So even the change of currency usually is to hide one, like the biggest inflation in history. So now we are seeing that the digital currency is coming.
Yes.
And with all that's happening geopolitically, I believe it's very important, like you mentioned, to save money. If I also say like real estate is always a good thing, especially to live in, not necessarily to invest in. But then there's a lot of opportunity also in Dubai now, because I'll say, you're a gladiator. So if we take our gladiator hat and we're like, okay, everyone is leaving, what is the opportunity that I have? Because maybe one market where like maybe 7, 8 agency, and now you only have one, and you are here, and people will remember that you are still here.
Exactly.
That you didn't flew away, and that you consider UAE like your home.
You're committed.
Yeah, and you're committed. I have local friends, and they always send me a message, and they say thank you for staying, thank you for believing.
That's
because
nice.
How is your biggest commitment is you stay. We can go back, to Europe. Is like days fly every day, but we are committing to stay because we believe that it's gonna pass away, and that's why I'm like, I'm not hiding in my house. I'm being careful, but business is business. We go to a meeting. If there is an opportunity, why not taking it?
Absolutely. Well, personally, I'll take a bullet for this country. It's given me an opportunity where I never had in my life, not Iran where I was born or in the UK. And we don't pay taxes, we're so blessed. So
yeah, and we are like, it's not even we only don't pay tax, it's like we have the best service. We have I built my family here, so I came 10 years ago. So I had my daughter one on the best hospital. My hospital was like basically a hotel.
Yes.
But
people say it's expensive, but it's relevant, right? It's only expensive if you're not earning the money. If the country is providing you opportunities to earn a lot more money, everything's become affordable.
And
True?
Also, I'm not sure this type of service. So I have friends that go to private clinic to deliver in France, in Paris, and we compare, we pay both, but we have insurance. We pay I have expensive insurance, so it covers it, right? But if you're in France and you go to a private clinic, you will also pay. You will never get 3 nurses. You will never get a menu
private
where
room or anything like this. Yes.
Private room, private menu, everything, and at the same time,
best equipment.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything, yes.
So everything is top notch, and for me, what doesn't top up Dubai is the service, because you have security and you have top service, and even community where we live. I'm sorry, but right now, everyone is like, oh, you can come back to Paris or whatever. It's like, look, I have my house. I have in my compound, I have pools. I have nanny room where my nanny have her own facilities, and she can also, be safe. And we're all happy alone. You have big house. You go back to Europe, London, I think it's same like Paris, is tiny house where, you cannot go everywhere at any time. I can definitely not wear my jewelry. I can definitely not walk to my house. So
we were. I just came back from London, and almost every I was there a week. 6 times I saw 6 fights. There was only one night that I didn't see any trouble.
Wow.
In Paris, I went for the European Cup final, Champions League final.
Oh.
And every single day, somebody was mugged on the tube station, in the tube. Here, the chances of we're in desert, the chances of getting hit by lightning, it's 10 times more than being hit by a missile. So that puts it in perspective, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a lot of British friends that are like Nisreen, if there is the alarm, I'm at home, or I will like make myself like in a secure spot. But if I'm back in London or any...
It's not safe.
It's not safe, and I will not enjoy, because the thing is that what are you doing? You're just spending time and spending money. It's better like to work from here, where we can, you know, like you mentioned, you have a lot of opportunities, and you can also be in the comfort. And comfort is very important.
Yes.
In your like attitude.
Stress. The stress levels that you have, you're constantly watched on. I don't think I've locked my car door for 15 years, or front door of my house, ever.
Yeah.
And we went to England. The first day we didn't lock the car, it got stolen.
Oh my God.
First night. Because we're used to it.
Yeah, but it's crazy that people go and check that if your car is locked.
And they left valuable. My kids left valuables on the back seat. So it's like, come and take me. Yeah.
I mean, that's like, this is so funny that you're talking about that, because this is like when we go to Europe, we literally like have to remind ourselves every like hour along, like don't like, you know,
Yes.
don't like, I just take bags that they can carry on my shoulders, and then
under your coat, so it's not visible. Yes.
It's just like stress, and what for, to be honest. So guys, for me, if I have an advice, is like, if you're an entrepreneur, and yes, there is a crisis, but crisis everywhere. This will I'll pass, like you mentioned, but right now, just focus on the positive and focus on what you have, because not all information are good to just keep watching. It's just sometimes I just, you know, stop the TV, especially like, you know, European media, where they're just saying Dubai is finished or whatever. Just like focus on opportunities. Because if you go to France, you go to London, you will see like scam. You will see people get stolen. You will see people pay so much tax that even their business is good, they're not making money out of it. So there are crises all over the world. If you believe that Dubai is the place for your business and you're making money, just don't leave everything and lose the opportunities. So let's move on a little bit about...
Before we move on,
yeah.
may I say something?
Yeah, please.
I think the words we choose dictate the way we feel. So to me, it's not crisis. People use the word crisis. First of all, I look at Iranian TV, they're winning the war. I look at American TV, not one single American soldier died. I look at some other TVs, everything is controlled. So you have to make a balanced view of things.
Yeah.
Crisis is, let me tell you what crisis is. You have terminal cancer and nothing fixing it, and you got days to live. That's crisis. Everything else is lessons. So the way I see it, what lessons can I learn today? What lessons can I learn tomorrow? And suddenly it's not so bad.
Yeah.
So when I hear people saying harsh words, there's a balance to everything, right? So I don't think it's I think it's lessons. What lessons can we learn from this?
That's so true. And I'm sure like, especially like you face having like 2 times heart attack. So for you is like...
I was asked about 2 years ago to this event run by a Russian lady. It was Russian business owners. And a coach came, he was British, and he had 1 heart attack. I was in the audience. And his 1-hour conversation was about his resilience overcoming his heart attack. To me, it was like, when I do a talk, my heart attack's about 2 seconds to mention it, then we move on, right? But if you give it focus, you're giving it power. Right?
Agree.
To me, I was listening to him. He said, he's so weak because he's focusing on that challenge they had. We have challenges all day long. Growth comes from challenges. We overcome them, we move on, build resilience, build muscle, get strong.
But I believe that that's your Iranian roots, and also, you know, Middle East, is that we don't like to speak about our weakness, and we believe that is our weakness, where I believe in Europe, they will brag about it because they recover from it. Where for us is like, yeah, it happened. You know, because for us it's like, yeah, my father died when it was 10. that's life. I'm not going to cry about it. But, you know, when I see the difference between like Middle East, North Africa and Europe, this is one of the biggest difference, where we have this thing in our, like, you know, mindset,
DNA.
where DNA, like, we have to be strong, and bragging about the negative things is like make us weak.
I think,
which
I
can be...
don't know about you, because I don't know you enough to talk about our background, but I don't fit in the Middle East and I don't fit in the Western world. So I used to go on courses, personal development courses, and they didn't know me from one course to another, but my nickname was always Lost.
Okay.
I was lost, because if I go to Iran, I don't fit in. I'm too westernized. When I go to the West, I don't fit in because I'm too Middle Eastern. So there's lots of people that, you know, when the first question someone meets you, where are you from? You think, oh God, you got 5 minutes for me to tell you where I'm from. I'm Algerian, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And we kind of like, with travel and everything, we kind of lost identity. But what I find is that because we lack trust, because of our history, we are not optimists, I fear. Most of us are not optimists as human beings. And I'll explain to you why. Because it really used to upset me why most people are not optimists. I think, I'm an optimist, why isn't everybody else? They're all maniacs, right? But what I found that when you look at human race 10,000 years ago, when you were working on the field, the farm, and you as a woman were looking after the children, the husband and the kids were farming, what did they used to do when they got the food? They used to hide it. They used to hide it because just in case the weather changed, just in case they got attacked by the neighbors. So being scared and being frightened is part of humanity. Being cautious is part of humanity. Being an optimist is a new thing. Because for the first time in humanity, we have abundance. We can go do, and the food gets arrived. 200 years ago, you have to go and work the field, work the farms, dig the food out of the ground, cook it. Yeah. You used to make an effort. So I think pessimism or scarcity is just a natural human trait. Optimism and abundance is actually very rare. That's another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode, exactly. And I think it's a good subject to bounce to one thing that you say, and I want you to explain to the audience. You say that being rich is a system. That is not luck, this is not timing, that is not talent. That a system wealthy people understand, but nobody ever teach openly. So can you break down like this system down, like the actual mechanics and what is this system? Because what I think everyone want to understand is this mindset that make people rich, and what's, you know.
Sure. I think your question is so open. We need another episode for that one. So I think first of all, I always say to my students, to my pupils, to my followers, is that take charge of your life. So if you want to know how much you are worth, look at your bank statement. Your bank statement tells you, because it's got nothing to do with me, it's got nothing to do with your teachers, it's got nothing to do with mom and dad. What your bank statement tells you is how much you think you are worth. And the universe will pay you what you think you're worth. So if you look at your bank statement and it's not enough, it's because that's how much you think you're worth. So work on your self-worth. Second thing is, that's why most people who make it sabotage it and go poor again, because they don't know what their self-worth is, right? They get lost, dizzy heights of, I don't know where I stand, I don't have a plan for it, I don't know how much I'm worth. And they can't charge. So for instance, I'll give you an example. I do podcasts, and I really got to the stage where I've been doing it for 8 years. And I got tired of doing podcasts. When I was doing it, nobody was doing podcasts. So I have 1 million subscribers on my YouTube channel. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm before anybody else, so I'm going to charge. I charge $10,000 a podcast, fully booked. And I got to the stage that I was still pissed off, and I didn't want to do podcasts. I'm done. So 8 years of podcast.
To motivate you put $100,000.
So I increased to $20,000 a podcast, right. Fully booked. Not one single person complained about my money. But the difference is, for 7 years, I charged nothing. What changed was my mindset. So your mindset can change the way you earn money. Now, that was the first thing. So you work on your self-worth. Second thing is, people do not spend time or trust you if they don't like you.
Yeah, 100%.
So no matter, I'm 60, and for my age, thank you.
You look 40.
Thank you. It's because I've got no hair. But we're not going to go there as your team. No, we don't talk about hair today. But if I did, I'll have a white crown here. I'll look 90. But the fact is, I think if you have an optimistic attitude, you're happy, you don't age as much. That's the trick. And DNA helps as well. My mom's 80 and she looks 60. So the fact is that I still, at my age, and I haven't stopped working since the age of 13. So, let me see, 47 years I've worked non-stop. Wow. I still, when I sit in front of someone, I still have childlike enthusiasm. I sit and I want to know about their business, right? I don't sit there going, yeah, and interrupt them. When they see that you are totally enthusiastic about their business, people tend to like you. And then when they like you, they trust you. And then you have to deliver what you promise. So if you can fix that process, you will become rich.
That's so inspiring and so true. And when I'm really much into the manifestation. And I think this is like just an equation to success, which is you have to like yourself. And I believe, especially when you're a woman, that there are some stage in your life where, having kids, being pregnant, how is your mindset after having kids, which I think men have also when they have a family, they get more stressed and they get, I'm sure after having your kids, you got even more motivation because you want them to have a nice life. So there are so many things that evolve. What I wanted before when I just graduated, which was work for a big corporate, I was fascinated by a business trip because, I saw in the movies and it was like, oh my God, I want to do business trip. I want to be, to feel important. So all those things then become so not important. Then I realized okay, now I want to have my own company. I want to do stuff that are with my value, like you mentioned, something where I manage my time. I can work a lot, but if there are a couple of hours where I want to be with my daughter, that's what gives me happiness. It's not even freedom. It's really about what makes me happy.
Quality time.
Yeah, quality time. And I'm a work alcoholic, but at the same time, I have my precious time because whatever the time, like our kids, the time will pass and they're not going to stay along with us. So we have to enjoy, and I don't want my daughter, for instance, to remember that, oh, Mama was at work. So I think that is very important to find your happiness along with the motivation and the enthusiasm to do what you want. And also what I feel like, especially this generation, is about maybe not focus, for me, it's not focus on the money directly, but what you like and what you're strong at. Because then, if you deliver, then the money will come. You've been doing the podcast and you loved it, then you start monetizing. Again, it gives you motivation because then you're like, okay, this is this money, this will, I don't know, I will go to the Maldives for 1 week with the family. It gives us motivation one way or another. And we cannot be shy about money. Money is also important, what we fight for.
I think most of us are born poor. So what you find is the conversations rich people have is totally different to the conversations poor people have. So when, and I was born poor. So I was told that money is not easy to come by. Rich people are bad people. I really had an issue with money. When I realized that money is only energy, the energy that you give out is the energy you get back. So then I realized I can, by having a positive outlook on money, the energy of money, I actually attract it. So when times are like this, I see opportunity everywhere. But poor people actually see poverty everywhere. So if you can control your mindset, it's very easy to see opportunity. Last year, I spent a week with Richard Branson.
Wow.
Virgin on his island.
Yeah.
And I realized...
In his island.
On his island, yes. And I realized that he's a pure optimist. And somebody said to him, Richard, where are you going to leave are you going to leave this island for your kids when you die? And he goes, trust me, this island has been remortgaged so many times that nobody will want the mortgage on this island. And I thought, and he built 2 cruise ships during COVID, costing over $1 billion each. Wow. So I was thinking, a rich person has the same problems, just bigger. But their mindset is abundance, whilst the poor is scarcity.
Yeah.
But everything's there for you to see. It's like if I say to you, close your eyes, have a look around and find something in grey. Yes, and you look for grey, and I say, open your eyes now and tell me anything in pink. And you go, hang on a second, I was looking for grey. Okay? Yeah. So in life, whatever we get, we focus on, we get. We give it power, right? But the pink is always there, we just don't focus on it. So opportunity is always there, but it's just our mindset. So we have to work on our mindset first, and then the money will come.
Yes, yes. And that's why I think it's very important to have goals. So you have yearly goals, you have monthly goals, and you have daily goals.
Your goals change, and be prepared to change your goals. You go to a meeting
and you say, what am I expecting from this meeting? Like when I come for this podcast, I'm like, what's the goal for this podcast? What do I want to share with the audience? Like now, like everything has to have a meaning, and then it becomes powerful. Otherwise, it's just...
But you know why you're powerful? Because you're a woman. I'll explain to you why. When I was going to meetings and I was coming out and I was reflecting, how did I do in that meeting? Was I good? Did I close the deal? I had no choice but to be honest with myself, because I didn't have money to pay the rent. I didn't have money to pay for school fees. So I had to be honest. As a woman, you don't have an ego. And women don't have ego, so they come out and they're very honest with themselves. 75% of my followers are women. Why?
Wow.
Because they don't have egos. Men have egos. They come out, I did really well. I was so good, I was this. Because they can't overcome their ego. That's why they make really terrible stock traders. Because they make a decision to buy a stock and the whole world turns against it, but they made that decision, the stock will turn. But women go, no, the rule says sell after 15% drop. They get out and move on. Women make much better leaders, make much better stock traders than men do, because of the lack of ego.
And I think it's because it's...
You can agree with that being a woman, right?
I agree. And also because I believe in our DNA, we are caregiver. So we always think about... Nurturing, exactly.
By the way, I said all that because I want to get on Jenny's podcast.
So it's very important to... I will just add that for women, what happened is, I think we are too judging. We judge too much ourselves, which sometimes will not allow us to take opportunity. Because what you say is correct, is that we always honest with ourselves, but then we are too judging, because there were this question that was not a question, sorry. There were they were asking. They were saying that, for instance, there's a new role, let's say for CFO, and then open in the company. They will see that women that are competent for this role, if there's one quality that they don't match, they wouldn't even send their resume for this role. When a man, because of his ego, will go, yeah, of course I can be CFO. Of course I can speak Chinese. Of course I can do this, I can do that. So there is two ways.
So men lie.
Men are very confident, and confidence sometimes make the trick.
May I, are we open to arguing here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I disagree.
Okay.
I think it's to do with our upbringing, nothing to do with our sex. Now, what happens, if I was an attractive woman, okay, which is hard to imagine, I would get into more deals through the door than most ugly men like me, right? Because if it's a man in a power position, is more likely to let an attractive woman in than a man. But I'll explain. It's 10 times, 100 times more difficult for a woman to close the deal than it is for a man.
I was about to say that.
Because the man, the idiot man who let them in, has got the wrong intentions. It's a woman's trick to make sure, or not trick, the ability, skill, to make sure they don't get the wrong impression. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
So if I was an attractive woman, I use my attractiveness, because it is a man's world. It's a man's world. It's a man's world, and I'll explain.
100%.
To get me through the door, but I make sure I'm so skilled to that they don't get the wrong impression. They know I'm professional. So I use what I have as an asset, but I'll make sure my skills make sure I close the deal. Unfortunately, most women don't have the skill to say to the man, no, hang on a second, and then they just meet and nothing ever happens.
Yeah, I mean...
So going back to the internal dialogue.
Yeah.
So what happens is when we're a child, we are told something and we believe it, okay? And then what we form is an internal dialogue. Thinking is having a conversation with ourselves. And we have like 1,000 of these a minute. We ask a question, we answer it, we nod. We ask a question, we don't know, we go, we don't know. So we're constantly talking to each other, to ourselves. If your dialogue is not complementary, you will go into battle, you lose. Okay? So what you find, men or women, if they had a really positive upbringing, they're going to battle knowing they're going to win. And they got more chance of winning. But what happens is, most of us, if Dariush's head was another human being, they should get locked up for abuse. Most of us beat ourselves up. We don't have much compliment. We don't compliment ourselves. We don't pat ourselves on the back. Because when you're a child, you're crawling, you walk, everyone, wow, Dariush is walking, throw me in the air, yes. But as soon as you become an adult, nobody celebrates your success.
Yeah.
Nobody.
You have to do it yourself.
So you have to work on yourself. Yeah. So what I would say, instead of being a victim saying, women, things like this, no, work on yourself. And you can change the marketplace. But here's the thing, whenever you look at humanity, whenever you're a minority, being a woman, be it an Iranian guy, be it in England as a foreigner, minorities always have to accept that they have to work harder than the majority. Because the majority can relax, they rule the market.
Of course.
But at the moment complacency comes in, the minority will take over and win.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, they call it the immigrant mindset. And I speak about it, which is about, you know that you have to work harder. You know that you prove yourself harder.
Yes.
Because you're entering a world that still have the majority. So in Europe, we're still talking about white people, male.
Yes.
On their 40s, 50s. So this is who, like me, myself, Nesrine, I have to convince. Being in the investment world where how you look, how you talk, who you have in your contact, your portfolio, your education is very important. So I totally agree with the fact that you have to look for the role. But it's the same that if I have to bring a founder to my investors, I totally do this screen, because who I bring on the table will affect if they take my call. And if, you know...
And you can just lose 10 years credibility with one bad meeting.
Exactly. So everything, that's why I always say that everything is difficult in life. Choose your difficult, because nothing. Having your company is difficult. Being in corporate is difficult. Being having kids is difficult. Not having kids is difficult. Everything is difficult. Just choose your battle and go ahead with a positive mindset and hope for the best. Because if you go to a meeting and say, "Oh, those guys, they're never gonna trust me. They don't, you know, like." They are 40, they're white male, and oh, I'm Arabic, and I know they don't like blah blah. If you don't go to the meeting with this mindset, you go and you say, I am going to close, I am worthy, I am
but
educated.
you prepared. So
You
you
prepared,
know
exactly.
through past experience they're going to say these things. So
Exactly.
you go prepared.
Exactly.
Right? So you muscled up, ready for anything they're going to throw at you.
Exactly. You have to be ready. Nothing is luck or hazard. Everything is about being prepared. And I think one of the tips that you say at the beginning is like self-worth. This will be 80% of if the door's going to open for you.
Absolutely.
80%. And like, people ask me, oh, how
and
do you
know what's the other 20%, in my opinion? Hard work.
Yeah.
Because if you're an absolute, I'll point this way, if you're an absolute idiot, if you knock on enough doors, some idiot will buy your terrible product. Because there's always idiots out there buying crap, right? You're just not knocking on enough doors. But if you can polish up your act and do the hard work, you'll be successful.
Exactly. I wanted to, on this, all the advice, I wanted to talk a little bit about your company and the Gladiator Summit, because it's basically you on the stage and bringing exceptional speakers, and you are also...
Did you attend one? Not yet, have you?
Not yet.
Okay.
I have seen it on the social media. It's very famous in Dubai. So you have 1,000 entrepreneurs that walk in, and I saw like the testimonial that when they walk out, they feel different. So why do you think that most of the business event got wrong, and how do you think that the Gladiator Summit specifically get this, emotional,
why is it different? Yeah.
emotional feeling?
Amazing.
Because you have different people from different backgrounds that say the same thing and roll, and you manage. I was listening to one of your podcasts when you say that now the people that come as speaker pay to come to deliver a pitch, which is in Dubai, I think, I never heard of kind of this situation. So this is just to prove that is amazing concept.
Thank you. Do you know, your questions are so good. As you're asking them, I'm thinking of 20 answers. By the time I get to the 19th, I've forgotten the first and the second answer. So I'm going to thank you. Great questions. So let me explain a little bit of background, okay? I came from a single parent. My father died when I was young, and my mom was, thank you, it happens. But I don't know if I was fortunate to lose my father early, or because as laws of the universe go, we should lose our parents first, right? Some people in old age, some people young age. But I think it was, in a way, a gift, because it made me realize life is short. So I probably, in my years, achieved more than 100 lifetimes, because I don't waste time. You see, because I know how short it is and how fragile we all are. Most people I look at, they're like zombies. When you see me, I'm always happy, because this could be my last moment. So because of my upbringing and my past and losses of people close to me, I value life more than most. But my mom was a widow at 23. So she was very upset and angry inside, and she always knocked me. And she always said, you're not good enough, you'll never be good enough, this. So even at my age, I have this fire to show her wrong. So what happened was, I have about 5 million followers online. And somebody said, you have a really good story. You gain these followers because you share your vulnerability, you're honest, people like it, go on stage. So I said, where? And they recommended me a big group. And they happened to have an event in Dubai. So I went over to talk to this gentleman, and he didn't want to even entertain me. He didn't even look at me. So I sat in the audience, I had VIP. I paid for VIP because I'd be closer to him to introduce myself. And he didn't even
always go for VIP if you want to
and the
have
people you sit next
good
to.
network.
Definitely. So I'm sitting there. The AV system wasn't working very well. The sound system wasn't good. The speakers were constantly selling something. And I didn't feel connected to the heart. And I turned around to the people sitting next to me and I said, you know what? Screw this guy. I can do better than this. I can do better than this. And So I started a Gladiator Summit just to prove F you to the guy and show to my mom I'm good enough. That's it.
And why gladiator?
Because I am a gladiator. I should be dead. You know, gladiators were poor. The more battles they won, the more people they entertained, the more people they served, the richer they got. And the richer they got, the more freer they became. And isn't that just like life? The difference is 2,000 years ago, if you messed around, you die. You just, here, you can mess around every day. You're expected to lose and wake up next morning. I'd rather have that life than this one. To lose battles every single day and lose heart with life and momentum and get depressed. I'd rather have that one. So today, I think you've got to be a gladiator. Going to your meetings like it's your last one. So anyhow, so I created this event and I told my followers and 600 people turned up. And they had it was a show. It's a musical, everything was from the heart. I didn't sell a product. I said to the audience, I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm just going to give you love, and it's my problem covering the cost of this. Everybody paid to come, but it was a show. It was really, really expensive, so I got sponsors to pay. So sponsorship tickets covered everything, and they felt like they could be themselves. And then the second one, I've only done 3, and everybody knows me. The second one, 2,500 people showed up. We had 2-day event. We owned Dubai. And I thought, you know what? Every speaker, I chose the speakers very carefully. I said, every speaker wants that $1 million shot when they're standing like this and 2,500 people in front of them. And I charged $20,000 per speaker, fully booked. But they had to qualify. There was a waiting list.
Yeah.
And I had stalls everywhere, and I charged them $15,000 a stall. I made a lot of money in that second event, but I felt I lost my soul because I was making money. But I still didn't sell a course. The third one, 1,000 people showed up. I lost money. I didn't charge anything for the speakers. I didn't charge anything for any sponsors, but I authentically gave. And the movement's really picked up. So the fact that I've been here 15 years, nobody cares. The fact that I've got 5 million followers, nobody cares. But the moment I'm behind Gladiator Summit, they go, oh, you're Dariush. So what is affected is my brand in Dubai and the world, actually. A lot of people approach me saying they want to take the Gladiator Summit worldwide. But it's whether I can be bothered or not, because my stomach's full. I'm relaxed. Yeah, maybe this situation's brought something that excites me now. I have to fight a few battles again. So we change our goals every time, right?
I agree. That's very inspiring, and this is really the entrepreneur mindset.
Thank you. By the way, here's a funny story. The guy who ignored me spoke on my stage and paid me the second time.
Wow, congrats.
I'm sitting there going, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So basically, you have like this full career and you have many hats in your bag, if we can say. So right now, what is your goal? Like you say, like the goal change all the time, and now with the crisis, you're thinking there is new challenge, as you call them, not crisis, but challenge. What will be your next challenge?
Lesson. My next adventure. I think, first of all, how do we word success? Success is not about money. I'll give you an example. When I was poor, I came here. I used to drive a Yaris. And when my How to Get Rich classes finished, my students will go in their Mercedes and Bentleys, and my Yaris will come. I'm like, oh, no. And they look at me like, he's teaching us how to be rich. So I used to sit in the toilet for an hour on my laptop until everybody went before my car came. So I thought, you know what? I know if I continue doing this every single day, one day I'll get rich. Today I have 17 cars.
17?
17 cars. Everyone's a supercar. Okay?
Wow.
Now I'm an idiot because I'm looking at 17 apartments sitting there losing money. But at the time, it seemed like a good idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Indeed. So I think life is you're on a speedboat and you see turbulence or you see change, you move. But if you are set on your goals and you don't change, you're like the Titanic. You see the iceberg and you can't change fast enough because in your head, you're so slow at changing. You have fears of changing direction.
Yeah.
So what happened was during the Gladiator Summit, I noticed, because I said to you, it's a musical. I created lots of music that I realized when somebody comes to an event, they've just been in traffic on Sheikh Zayed Road, had to park the car, maybe they're a bit hungry, I'm very punctual, they have to start at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. we start. They know Dariush the Gladiator starts punctually. If people arrive at 8:30, you know, Dubai style, they miss the whole show. But I created an event whereby within the first 5 minutes, I had people crying. Wow. I had them in the palm of my hand. And when people cry, they're very attached to the emotion of the event. And I want to create a safe environment. People could be themselves with no egos. And everybody said it's magic how I did it. I said, you know what, actually, being Iranian, I actually like holding parties. Maybe the event, what I learned from is that I'm good at holding parties. So what I started doing is creating music. And
I saw that. I saw that on your social media.
Did you? Yeah, little, yeah.
Yes.
So I'm creating lots of music. That's my next step, to make sure my music is heard everywhere around the world.
Is it with like a certain theme, or is just about feeling whatever you
again, feel? Yourself and me, we're thinkers. Sometimes we can overthink. So what I do now, instead of overthinking, I document it. So when I'm thinking things, I document it, and using ChatGPT, I turn it into some kind of a poem that rhymes. Yes. So for instance, my first song was about, I was listening to love music, and every love song is about pain.
Famous one, yeah.
They're all about like how I broke my heart and you broke my heart. And I'm like, if everybody's in pain when they're loving something, why do we always try to find love? Think about it. True?
Yeah.
So my first song was, if love hurts so much, why do we keep singing about it? And I wrote a song based on that. So, and then now I've written a second song where it's like, the first song was like, if we know there's fire and it's going to burn us, why do we chase it? Right? It's the same with love. If we know why we chase love when most of the time it hurts, why do we chase it? My second song is about hope, and it just come out at the right time, the one you saw on social media, because of the current situation. And I think that being free is our right. To have freedom is our right. Just because you're born on this side of the line and you're born on that side doesn't make you right and me wrong. And so I'm going to create music. So thoughtful music.
Very good, and congratulations on this new hat from all the business you're doing.
Here's a promise. Here's a promise. When I'm really rich and famous, I'll still take your call.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, how I want to finish with a question that I'm sure is going to take long to answer from you. How do you feel being Iranian, British, in Dubai, about the situation? You're talking about hope. So obviously, I want, and I'm sure everyone wants to hear from you on that. And we can't not talk about the situation. I wanted to focus on the business, but we still want to hear what do you think about.
You said I'm going to give you a long answer, so I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to say, great. That's my answer. Great. No. Do you know, maybe it's right or wrong. It's strange. As an Iranian, before all this, as an Iranian, we couldn't dig a hole deep enough for ourselves. So I'll give you an example. When I go to America, I always go to the little room in the corner. I sit there for an hour being questioned why I'm in America. And I go 10 times a year because I was born in Iran. I have a British passport. They question me there. So I think the only country in the world that actually likes us is North Korea, right? So somewhere along the way, they've gone wrong. And the challenge is that there's lots of lack of trust. Okay, I'll give you an example. This country is only 50 years old. Before that, it belonged to Britain. They had no right to be here. Iranian petroleum, it was owned by Britain. Now, if you imagine I go to Texas, I dig a hole, and I find oil and I say it's mine, what would they feel? In 1962, I think it was, Cuba decided to have nuclear weapons at the doorstep of America. And John F. Kennedy I don't know if you heard about this, in 1962, the warships, it was nearly World War III, and the Russians turned around. So Russia, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. I think there should always be balance, a good and a bad, or a red or a blue. At the moment, there's only one world power. And unfortunately, and it's been proven, too much power changes your mindset. Something happens in your brain when you have too much power. And if you look at the history of the world, the people with too much power have gone crazy. And right now, a lot of things are being reactive because we're being led by somebody who's lost their mind, or a group or something belonging to a group who lost their mind. Because I was watching a program by the BBC called The Civilization, and it looked at the Mongol civilization, the Mexican civilization, it looked at the British Empire, the Roman Empire, and every single one of them lost. Do you know why? Because they didn't allow external people to come into their empire. They thought they were it. They thought they were the power. They thought they were the best, right? And they didn't allow, and the outside, they got more powerful and invaded and beat them. And to be exclusive is the worst thing you can do. It's actually proven that when, as you said earlier, when immigrants come into a country, they contribute more than the actual citizens of that country to the economy. So it's easy to say, that person is a robber, that person is a rapist, but find a smaller percentage than most of people's own civilization. So I think becoming through change, I think the world, you say I have a daughter.
Yes.
I think your daughter will make this world a far better place than we're going to leave her.
I hope so.
We have star and light children coming, and they're going to change the world. They care about the environment. They care about equality. They're just lighter beings than we are, sadly.
Dariush, thank you. This is exactly this conversation that I think everyone needs right now, not only in Dubai, but in the world, to give some hope and some good advice to be resilient. I will say that this is about resilience and how to act in this crazy world that we are living. If this gives you a clear idea, share it. Someone in your world needs to hear that. Subscribe to the DealMaker Show. Film in Dubai, built for people who build.